Hello, everybody. This is Mike with Fights of Friends. I am a special guest today on here. He is CM Punk's opponent for UFC 225, but he's a martial artist in his own right. Mike Jones. Mike Jones.
Who?
How you doing? Mike Jackson. Excuse me, Mike Jackson.
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. If I didn't get your name wrong, I'm just say I'm nervous. Let's put it
Well,
up to that.
it's sort of it's fitting because of I'm from Houston, and back in the early 2000s, 90s, there's a rapper out here, and his name is Mike Jones, and he had like this whole his whole gimmick was who's like when someone say Mike Jones, everybody like who, and it was like this running gag for like a decade, So it's kind of fitting that you would say that.
Well, I apologize. I think I can't get it out of my name because I think about it. I used to listen to Roy Jones rap like all the time.
I'm sorry.
I know he wasn't the greatest rapper. Yeah, I know. To admit that is, I got to do something after
I
messing
mean, I
up.
listen to him too, so it's not all bad, but I understand.
But like you say, you're training. You just got out of training. You said, how's everything going? How you feeling?
I'm feeling well. I've been on a Truth Food tour here for a little bit. Been eating some delicious foods and nutrients for the body. But it's time to get a little stricter since we got this. I mean, this is the money fight right here. This is the big fight. This is the one that everyone's tuning in to watch. I know we got like a title fight or two on the card, but it's all about the spectacle, And this is one of these once in a lifetime opportunities or once in a lifetime fights, and so really people are going to be tuning in to watch and see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you've been wanting to fight him for a while, and you called him out. You made kind of a pretty funny wrestling promo. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good with the guy that you were in with. Had you done any acting or any kind of WWE stuff before that, or was that just kind of an improv
Well,
thing?
that's just my personality. I'm a very charismatic and outgoing person. As far as acting goes, as a kid, I was in plays and things like that. I was actually the Nutcracker at one time. But my biggest downfall as an actor is my memory, and I can never just remember the lines. When it comes to improvisation, I'm good with that, and that's what you saw in the video. That was a lot of improv skills. But as far as like acting from a script perspective, man, I was terrible at it because I couldn't remember my lines.
Yeah, I can relate to that sometimes. I forget things every once in a while, and doing the commentary on here, I do like what I do on my show is this is what we call the most interactive MMA show on YouTube because I do the actual commentary, play by play, and a lot of
Okay.
times it's even more beyond what might you might see on television because a lot of people aren't even actually watching the fight. So it's more like radio. So it's my 30 some years of MMA experience coming
I got
out,
you.
So yeah, you definitely get tongue tied sometimes. But I got to ask you some of my, the people on the show, and they're asking me, and everybody's going to ask, they said you wanted to fight CM Punk. What do you say to those people that just say, you just want to fight CM Punk because, you want a money fight and you think he's an easy fight? He doesn't have the experience of some of these other guys.
Well, he doesn't. Well, my thing is the reason this again this whole thing is a spectacle, and it's all about being at the right place in the right time and knowing the right people, And I've just been fortunate enough to uh, to meet a lot of great people in this industry, And some people may say I haven't really paid my dues as much as other fighters, and to an extent, you're right. But I'm on a different path, For me, obviously, I love fighting because this is what I do, for a living and things like that. But there's more to fighting than just fighting, and people don't understand that. You have to look at this from a business, and I'm a businessman. I've been a businessman, since I was 9, since I was a little kid. I've been always having a hustle, and this is just another hustle. Look, I could have just sat on my ass and said nothing, and I wouldn't have got the fight. But I had to go out here for the past 2 years and grind and hustle and make myself relevant. You know, that in itself is hard work. I mean, look at the people that all the people who really these people that say, "Oh, he sucks," this, that, and the other. I'm sure all of these people would have liked to have been there and to fight this guy because he sucks so bad, right? But they didn't get the opportunity. I got the opportunity because of hard work and dedication and my craft, whether it be the fighting side of it, whether it be the marketing side of it. All of that plays together in the fight world. You know, again, I just took a different avenue than other people to get to the UFC. And that's cool. That was just my thing. Look, people get upset, you know, they're fans. I don't want to say as far as fighters getting upset, you don't really get that. I've had a lot of positive feedback from everyone. You know, I have many close personal friends in the UFC. I have champions who are friends in the UFC. All of these people are cool with it because they understand what it is. It's the fans who seem to be butthurt about this fight, and which is I don't understand because if you're a fan of the sport of MMA, all you should want to see is a fight, and that's what we're going to do. Myself, Phil Brooks, we're literally going in there to fight. It doesn't matter if we're both 0-1 or whatever the case may be. We're going in there to fight. You know, these people who are so upset about this, they are not real fight fans. These people who they just enjoy the entertainment of they're UFC fans. You understand? Because if they were true MMA fight fans, why would it matter who's in there fighting? You would want to see a fight if you're a fight fan, correct?
Hey, correct. Hey, I'm looking forward to the
Okay.
fight.
Okay. Well, and again, I'm just saying, I'm just speaking from a fight fan's perspective. If you're a fan of fighting, it doesn't matter who's fighting, as long as it's a good, entertaining fight, right? If you're a UFC fan, then yeah, I can understand why you're upset. Oh, these guys, they're both 0-1, and they're coming into the UFC, they don't belong here. Like, okay, but you just watch it. So if you don't want to watch the fight, then go to the bathroom or don't order the pay per view or whatever the case may be. But here's the thing: all these people running their mouths about, oh, they don't belong in the UFC and all this, that, and the other. They will buy the pay per view because they want to see what's happening. It's the spectacle, the whole thing. These people, they talk all this noise about the fight, but I guarantee they're going to buy and they're going to be tuning in.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be a big card. And obviously, Vegas is not in the business of losing money. And they've had you right now, I think you're about a 2.5 to 1 underdog. Or, excuse me,
No,
favorite.
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 2.5 to 1 favorite. You've been as big as a 3 to 1 favorite. Like I said,
Oh,
those guys aren't in the
nice.
they're not in the business of losing money. They're not trying to give us their money. So they know something. They know you bring something into the cage.
Correct. Correct. Which is, man, that actually kind of hurts because I was gonna bet my purse on myself if I were the underdog, but I'm not. So, whatever. I'll just have to go out here and beat this dude up.
Yeah, that would have been cool because that's a nice thing about boxing and MMA. That's what I was thinking. If I was fighting, is you can bet on yourself,
Yeah.
not like in other sports. Hey, maybe those odds will move a little bit. Who knows? But they must be watching your training camp. You got a spy there.
Man, well, no, they don't have a spy in my training camp because if they had a spy in my training camp, they would be seeing all the delicious food I've been eating. That's what they would be scoping out. They'd be like, let's get this dude his own food show. Which, now that I say that, we're in the works of having a true food tour show. And so we're gonna all the places I get to travel to. We're gonna go to all these cool little spots and different kinds of spots that have the great food and different kinds of food and we're gonna bring you the Mike the Truth. I don't have a title for it yet. It'll probably just be Truth Food Tour. That's probably I'll just stick with that. So y'all hear it here first.
True food tour. I like
There you
that.
go.
So what do you expect out of CM Punk? What kind of things are you training with? Because people are saying, oh, he's been a WWE wrestler or whatever. This
Uh-huh.
guy's been training now for 3 years, and he's been training with some pretty good guys. He's been training, I believe, with Dick Rufus.
Yeah, he's over there. He has a solid camp over there. I know some guys over there. I know Duke. It's a great camp. It's a great gym, great coaches, great teammates. So I only expect to get the best Phil Brooks. in Chicago. I expect there's going to be there. I expect him to have learned things in the 2 years he's been off. So I just expect a better version of what we saw. I know we didn't see much, but I expect a competitive fight come June 9th in Chicago.
Well, that first one, I mean, I don't know if people hadn't studied Mickey Gall or whatever. Back when he had no MMA experience, literally, and Mickey Gall, as you know, I mean, he was only 1-0 at the time, but that dude's a stud, and we've
Well,
seen
that was the
since
thing,
then.
and that's what I don't think people see. These guys who are all of these people who are running their mouths, they're not real fight fans. They're UFC fans, and UFC fans are the people that if you're not in the UFC, it doesn't matter. You could be Fedor, but if you're not in the UFC, then you suck, or you're not good, or you're talented, or whatever, right? Mickey Gall, like this guy is a hot prospect, and I expect him to be a future champion in the UFC. Like the kid is good. I didn't take him lightly. I just made him I zig when I should have zagged, and that was a fight, But I understood the caliber of fighter this guy is, and the internet likes to run their mouth. They're like, oh well, Mickey Gall was just he only had one fight, and I'm like, yo, he may have had one fight, but the dude is good. He's a stud. He trains over with the Miller brothers. I'm like, this guy, he's no joke. So when he goes, I put him over. Obviously, he made his name for me. So you got Mickey Gall, or you have Gall who beats myself. He beats Punk. He beats Sage Northcutt. Then he goes into a decision against Randy Brown. Like, come on. I mean, yeah, he lost the fight, but he didn't get finished. If he was such a slouch, Randy Brown would have mopped the floor with Mickey Gall, but he didn't. And Mickey learned from that, and he's going to come back stronger. So these guys who run their mouths about this guy, like they're UFC fans and they're not true fight fans.
Well, those guys are obviously some of the greatest athletes. I don't care what you talk about the WWE, the scripting and everything. Those guys are some of the greatest athletes on the planet. I hadn't watched wrestling in forever, and we actually decided to do like a fight companion for WrestleMania this last Sunday. These these
Okay.
these guys are way better athletes than when I used to watch when I was a kid. This was
For
that
sure.
was back with Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior and these guys. A lot of them were former mixed martial artists or they train in
Right.
mixed martial arts. And CM Punk, yeah, he's a phenom. We can see some of your footage out there. You have a YouTube channel out there, right?
I do. I do. Make sure y'all subscribe. Just go to MikeTheTruth.com and there's a link to my YouTube. And then make sure you hit the subscribe button. I post all the dope interviews. I've had interviews with former champions, Dana White. Who else I've been interviewed? Let me see. I got some good names on there. Save, Derek Lewis. Go there and subscribe. And then I put up a bunch of other content because I cover events, jiu-jitsu matches, and fights. So you just get a bunch of solid content on my YouTube page.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Um, I, I got to ask you, how long is your training camp? When did you start? Because you're fighting. The fight's on June 9th.
I no, I literally just started my camp today. Literally today.
Oh
I
wow.
mean, I've been trained. Don't no mistake. Like, I haven't just been eating and hanging out on the couch. Like I've been moving around and training. But as far as preparing for a pay-per-view fight, my training camp starts today.
No, for those people who don't know, 10 to 12 weeks, that's average. 10 weeks is average for a lot of these, for a lot of the professionals. So you're right on time as far as that, absolutely. What's weight looking like? Do you
I'm
go much
about
above weight?
probably mid 180s. I don't step on the scale often because for me, I know I know how my weight comes off. So for me, I probably won't get on the scale probably about a month out just to test, just to see where it'll be. And I'm sure I'll be in the 77, 78 around about a month out. For me, like this isn't like for me to fight at 170, like it's not a big. I mean, I fought at 155 before. That now that's a legit cut. But for 170, for me, it's mainly just the diet. It's fairly easy to get there when I'm not, indulging. I mean, I've had spaghetti the night before weigh-ins. I just love food that much. So as long as for this one, obviously has bigger consequences and a bigger reward. So for me, I do plan to stay more strict for this fight, and I plan on getting into Chicago at 170 pounds. But
Yeah.
don't quote me on that, because I may come in like 180. Who knows?
No, I've always thought that's the way to do it. I can't believe how much some of these guys cut. I mean, if you get offered a fight and it's a big fight like Max Holloway trying to make that big cut, I
No.
understand that, but some of the stress that some of these guys put their body in, it's like I'm not sure if it's that big of a benefit if you're dropping 25 pounds in 5 days.
Yo, I've seen some drastic cuts. Again, for me, I've chosen a different path. You have a lot of guys who like to, they make huge sacrifices for this sport. That's not the path that I was on. I didn't have to make, these tremendous sacrifices, whether it be in my personal life, whether it be in diet or weight cutting. For me, I just enjoyed the sport. I shouldn't even be fighting right now. I should be a doctor or an engineer or something. But that wasn't for me. For me, it was all about the fight. It was all about, entertaining fans. Although I don't have an extensive amount of fights, again, I'm fighting in the UFC now. And I'm there for a reason. So for me, I do again. It's about fun and cutting. Look, I think the most I've cut in 2 days is probably about 12 pounds. And I promise you, that was for. And I know people laugh at that. They're like, "Bro, I cut 12 pounds in a day." Look, that was for you. Cutting weight is not for me. So like I said, that 12 pounds in 2 days was crazy. I don't plan on doing it again. Like I said, I plan on having a smarter fight, and I plan on getting to Chicago. Again, I'm crossing my fingers. I don't jinx myself, but I want to be in the 170s when I get to Chicago.
Hey, that would be right on. That would be a lot less stressful. I'm sure CM Punk's probably walking around a little heavier than that. I want to say he walks around maybe even as big as 220.
Oh wow, I had no idea. Well, that sucks for him.
Yeah, yeah, he's a big guy. I know he was over 200. I want to say I think about 6 weeks out
I had
from the
no
Mickey Gall
idea he was
fight.
that big. Oh man,
Yeah,
I didn't see it.
he's a big guy.
I've never been over 200 pounds in my life. That's crazy. But I mean, look, more power to him. I'm not about that life. I'm not trying to go out here and cut crazy weight. I'm here for fun. And again, cutting weight is not fun. Punching people in the face is fun. So I just want to do that.
Yeah, no, I got you on that one. I know you had an amateur fight. Your amateur career went back to 2009, but what?
Actually, 2008. 2008 was when I started. Actually, I've been in the sport for 10 years this month. April 1st was, well, I've been in the sport in MMA for a decade. So this is kind of like an anniversary present for me.
Nice, nice. I always like to ask all my guests, what got you into fighting, whether it be, MMA or boxing or whatever. What did it for you? You
The
said I want to be a
fun,
fighter.
that's funny again, this whole thing this is crazy. What got me into fighting, ironically, is that I was a fan of professional wrestling. And now I'm fighting a professional or former professional wrestler. But for me, that was really what got kind of the drive in me. And then growing up, I was a fan of boxing. And really, the catalyst of all this is I blame my mother. As a kid, I wanted to do karate, and she wouldn't let me do karate. She was very like for me. I played basketball, baseball, tennis. I've done all this swam. I've done all these things, but as far as like contact sport, I mean, I didn't play football until I was in middle school. I really snuck into MMA. I was in college when I got into it, and I'm an adult now, so my mama can't tell me nothing. But I didn't tell her, to be honest. I still didn't tell her. But then she found out, after I had my first. Well, she found out about 2 or 3 months before I had my first fight that I had been training for months prior, and she was a little taken back about it, but she supported me. And to be honest with you, in the grand scheme of things, I probably owe all of this to my mother. She's been the biggest supporter, through all of this. And again, I probably wouldn't be here without if it weren't for her.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we all have a lot of credit I think to give to our mothers, or most of us. I know I do definitely. Um, what were you like in school though? Did you ever get in any fights in school or after school? Any kind of wild stories that you had out there?
Nah, man. I wasn't that guy. I was a straight A and AB student. I was just a cool. Again, I was an athlete throughout school. I was always busy doing something. I never really got in any fights. I think I got into like maybe one fight with like a cousin. And so for where I lived, we lived on a lake, and so we had this deck in our from our backyard, and it was a fairly big, large deck. And so I remember one day, my cousins, we were all just, having fun, and the dudes was running their mouths about, how he was a better fighter than me. So I was probably about 17, 18. So we hopped in the car, we went up to Academy and bought some boxing gloves, and then we went back to the house and we went on the deck, and put some cameras on, and I went out there and I beat my cousin up. And so like that was kind of the first sort of fight I was in, and we had it on video. And really, what got me was I showed it to like other friends, and they were like, "Yo, you got some hands," And so that was kind of like, man, maybe I can try this thing out. And this was years before like the Ultimate Fighter came out. And then once that kind of came out, I think one of my first experience with the UFC was like the early days, obviously on VHS tape. Just so happens the cousin that I beat up was the one who put me on to MMA. He's the one who had the VHS tape. And so I remember watching it, really enjoyed it, and because it was different. It was different from boxing and wrestling. And so I just kind of put it on my radar. And then I remember when the Ultimate Fighter came out the first season, I was watching it and really enjoyed it. And then again, once the opportunity arose for me to start training, I jumped all on it.
Yeah, that Forrest Griffin Stephen Bonner fight really made a ton of MMA fans. Made the UFC. A lot of people that don't know, and you probably know, is the UFC was bankrupt going into that last season.
Yeah, I was on. I know the story. It was, man,
Yeah,
crazy. It's crazy, man. Like how things work out, how things happen. They were on the verge of going bankrupt. They were about to lose everything, and now they're a multi-billion-dollar company. It's crazy how much things can change in, what is it, 25 years? It's crazy, man.
yeah. Since 25 years. It was 1993. This is the 25th year of the UFC. I've been watching them. I remember when we couldn't get them. I think it was 3 or 4 in the small town. I grew up in Walla Walla, Washington, and I was in high school. They didn't have them on pay-per-view yet until like 3. But yeah, I rented them like you. I watched them on VHS. I rented them and watched the Hoist Gracie and those first UFCs, and it's like, what's this guy doing? Nobody can figure out what in the world he's doing. And man, now you have to know everything. Everybody knows everything.
Man, the sport has evolved so much in such a short period of time. It's crazy. But that's what happens with things. Things evolve, and you got to get better. And that's just where we are right now.
Yeah, well, I think the UFC's in a good place right now. I got to ask you though. I've been asking everybody this about Conor McGregor. What do you think about what's going on with that man, with the whole bus thing and him flying over from Ireland? I mean, this is absolutely crazy. You think he's gonna fight anytime soon?
It's crazy from the perspective of someone who doesn't understand the background of Conor McGregor. See, Conor McGregor is fairly new to the world. This fame. He's new to this. Not too long ago, Conor McGregor was destitute. He was living on the streets. Well, people don't understand that Conor McGregor is a thug, and that's just what he is. So, although he's now a multimillionaire with all of this money, you have to understand that one, he made his money from fighting. Just that's the top here. He made his money from fighting, and the second thing is, when you take someone out of the hood or out of these poor situations, they don't immediately change. especially when you don't have someone trying to change you. Like no one's over there molding Conor McGregor into this sophisticated gentleman. The dude he's literally he's just fighting. He's making his money from fighting, right? So when you have someone who has this thug mentality, and you have someone who's that's his best friend. We know how close Artem and Conor are, and when you have someone who you hate, and think about how Conor and Khabib their relationship with one another. Like they don't like each other. So if you have Khabib who runs up on your man, you're gonna have to retaliate. And it just so happens you have a thug in Conor McGregor who has a lot of money, who has millions of dollars, who has access to a private jet. So you have to think of it like if you're in Compton, if you're in LA, and the Bloods and Crips are going at it. If a Blood attacks a Crip, you damn well straight that the Crips are gonna retaliate. It's the same scenario. It just so happens that Conor is white and Conor is Irish. So no one really correlates the two together. But if he were black, there would have been a correlation. So people don't look at things, people just look at on the surface. So when all of this happened, I was just like, well, Conor's being Conor. These are Conor antics. Because again, at the end of the day, Conor McGregor's a thug. And so he's going to do thuggish things. Now, with that saying, I love Conor McGregor. I'm a huge fan of it. I was a little surprised when he threw a dolly. I was like, dude, of all things, you threw a dolly? Like that was really the surprising thing for me. It wasn't even the attack itself. It was of all things, he threw a dolly. I was like, dude, you could have. I mean, a dolly. So when it comes to Conor McGregor, that was on par. I was really surprised. Like I said, the surprising part was he threw a dolly, and I was really surprised he even got he turned himself in. But at the end of the day, Conor being Conor. They're going to bring him back in. He's not going anywhere. He's not going to jail. It's just too much money on the line. And when people, again, this country, this is a capitalist country, and it's all about the dollar. And if you can make these people some money, they're going to do everything in their power to keep you making that money. And so we're going to see Conor McGregor in 2018, I'm pretty sure. Back in the UFC.
Yeah, I think we do. For the most part, he's got as much money as he can pretty much do what he wants within reason. He ran with the Kinahan gang. I know the biggest gang over there in Ireland, they wanted him to, be part of his gang, and he kind of rebelled them a little bit. That was before he was in the UFC, because I knew he grew up real young as a plumber. His dad was a plumber, and he was kind of doing that thing. I wasn't really surprised by the whole thing. Except for, like you said, the dolly, and I don't think he would have ever meant to injure other fighters. I mean, we ended up with four fights called off.
Yeah, man, it was crazy.
That was crazy, and that I think he needs to be held a little accountable for.
Correct.
But yeah, I thought that was absolutely very interesting.
Yeah, but he's an interesting look. You can't be that good at something, anything in life, especially if you're in a sports. If you're a competitor, it doesn't matter if it's sports or not. When you're that much of a competitor, like there's something off in your head, And so Conor McGregor he's one of them cats that's just off.
Yeah, sometimes. Well, he's bound to fight Khabib for sure now, I think, but I've heard first, this was first I've seen it on Forbes magazine. I don't know if you've seen this. Joe Rogan was talking about it today. They said they had an agreement with Floyd Mayweather to fight again against Conor McGregor, 5 rounds inside an octagon with boxing rules, except for the only differences between boxing is he'll be able to use the clinch. So he'll be able to grab him and hit him.
It's so silly. It's silly. Like so, it's not. So basically, it's not MMA. Is what it is. Like it's not an MMA fight. These are just they're boxing with little gloves. Is what it is. And you need to call it that. If that's what it's going to be, then I'm cool with that. But don't call this an MMA fight when it's not an MMA fight.
Yeah, that's what I said at first until I heard about the clinch. Because, you've watched boxing, and every time these guys, I mean, any time, their gloves touch the inside of the elbows, they break them up. It always pisses me off because I've been a boxing fan forever. Some referees aren't as bad as others. But to be able to do the clinch, I mean, how far is that going to go? He might be able to hold him in the headlocks. If he can bring him inside and throw those uppercuts and stuff,
Right.
it might be a little different.
A little bit. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But there's one. Look, I remember when they were talking about Mayweather McGregor in the beginning. I was like, man, that's not gonna happen. And then Donald Trump became president. I was like, well, anything is possible. And sure enough, it happened. And so I'll never say, look, you can tell me aliens are coming down tomorrow. And I'd be like, it's possible. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a weird world we live in now. Excuse me. I want to see him fight Khabib Nurmagomedov. That guy is absolutely incredible. And I don't know if you watched this fight with Al Iaquinta, but I thought he got a little bit of undue criticism.
Man, I think who got criticism? Khabib?
Khabib, yeah, because the fight went 5 rounds and he wasn't able to take Al
Look,
Iaquinta out.
man. Look, people just like complaining, man. It's like, look, this dude went out there and just, I mean, he shut him down. I mean, I don't, like, I was like, you can't finish everybody. Like, that's just what it is. And these people who run their mouth, like, they don't understand what it's like to be inside of a cage with another person trying to basically kill you. He's trying to incapacitate you. And these people who run their mouths outside, like, they just don't know. That's all it is. They're just ignorant to fighting. Because if they knew what it takes to get inside there against someone like Khabib, right, they would just, man, we get it. Like, this dude is tough. As opposed to saying Khabib sucks or whatever. It's like, how about we give Al credit for taking this fight on short notice and not getting stopped by one of the baddest men on the planet? But no, people like being petty and picking up on the wrong things, and now we got that. We got people criticizing Khabib for not fighting or finishing Ally Quinta. Crazy.
Yeah, I was with you on that. I thought it was crazy. I mean, Al, surprised me some things. I thought Khabib probably would finish him, but yeah, I thought it was absolutely ridiculous, and I thought more credit goes to Al than obviously, to criticism to Khabib. I thought that was that was pretty insane, honestly.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like no one wants to give credit to Al. They want to just criticize. He's like, yo, yeah, again, these are UFC fans, man. These are people, or maybe they are fight fans, but these are people who they've never been in there. And that's what it's about. It's like, look, if you've never experienced anything, then you can't criticize people. If you want to be a fan, then be a fan. But don't criticize these people for something that you've never done. And that's my issue with sports fans in general. It doesn't matter what sport it is. For me, I graduated a degree in sociology. So for me, I love studying people. And actually, I was going to go back and get my master's. And one of my area of concentration was going to be MMA fans, and I'm just curious to know, like, where these people get these delusions of grandeur for the most part. It's like these people are so delusional. Look, if you're a fan of it, just be a criticize it from a fan's perspective. But don't go in here and man, he sucks because he didn't finish Al, and like, don't do that. Like, then you're not a real fan. Then just watch it and be that. Like, don't go in here and criticize these guys for. Look, I don't think, again, that takes a lot to get in there, and you're just sitting on the outside, no fear, no nothing. It's easy to sit on the outside looking in and talking. It's different when you're in there.
No, absolutely. I always say I like the mainstream fan, the flyby fan that doesn't say things like that. I like them for one reason, because they make it so I can continue to watch these fights. I buy my pay-per-views. I don't bootleg them. I pay them for them like everybody else. But unfortunately, I understand that it also takes these people that, they haven't watched MMA in a year, barely watch it. They see a couple promos, of two people talking smack like John Jones and Daniel Cormier, and all of a sudden they say, "Oh, that looks exciting. I want to watch that."
Right.
So,
People are funny, man. People are funny. I mean, it is what it is. They gonna do what they do. So, like I said, like for me now, I feel like I've grown and matured. So, a lot of these guys who just run their mouths for the sake of running their mouths, I don't even give me. Look, if you can't give me, look, people like to come up with these crazy opinions. If you can't, these arguments you want to have, if you can't base it on any type of facts or substance, don't come to me with that. So, I just really now I'm to the point I just ignore people because there's no point in engaging with these kinds of people.
well, that's a good thing right now. I would probably stay off Twitter for a little while if I were you too.
I'm actually on Twitter right now, and I'm scrolling on my timeline. It's crazy. So,
Mike,
but that's
Mike,
me.
get off of there, Mike. Get off of there. Delete it until after the fight.
Nah, never. I'm a probably a sadomasochist or something. I just enjoy it.
I I have to be honest, I can't stand Twitter. I went on there and I made an account, and you'd be surprised how many different YouTube personalities will attack other YouTube personalities, and they bring their trolls with them.
Oh yeah. I don't do YouTube comments. Now that's one thing I don't do. I do Twitter, I do Facebook and Instagram. I don't do YouTube comments. I stay. That's what my mama told me, never go over there. That's the bad place.
That's great. I got to ask you one question. I know I'm talking about some other fights, but having a degree in psychology, I really
Sociology.
Excuse me, sociology. I would really like to get your opinion on John Jones and what's going on in his mind, and do you think he'll be back soon?
So John Jones is very similar to Conor McGregor. You have someone, again, when you're trying to look, John Jones is arguably the best fighter ever. That's I mean, we can debate it if you want, but whenever you're talking about the best fighter ever, if John Jones is not in that conversation, then you don't know fighting. That's first and foremost, right? With that said, is again, when you want to be that great, something is wrong with you. And for John Jones, it's a mixture of being a little off in the head, and also he's young, and you get into peer pressure when you're young. And when you live a certain life for so long, it becomes a habit. And it just so happens that the habit that John Jones developed was he can go out here and fight at the top level. He is one of the, I would say, arguably the greatest fighter ever. He's considered the greatest fighter ever, and he's out here doing coke and partying. Like, that, it's just one of those things like, look, if you're out here having a great time, because you have to understand that doing these crazy activities, they do something to your brain. You get a high off of that. Just like, I mean, look, I'll tell you right now, when you knock another man out, I don't know if you've knocked anybody out, but I've knocked out several. When you knock a man out, at least for me, there is no greater feeling in this world after you knock someone out and they raise your hand in front of thousands and thousands of people. There is no other feeling in this world, and it's a drug, right? So when you've been doing this drug of fighting and beating people in crazy fashions and getting your hand raised, but at the same time you've been doing coke and partying, and you're still the greatest, you're not going to change your behavior. Well, people on it, John Jones is still young. Now, for me, I'm 33. I just turned 33. So my life, I'm a different person than I was 2 years ago. Because I've matured as an adult and as a person. And that's all it is in John Jones. He's in a position where, and then you also have to factor in all the money. People don't understand, that's a drug too. When you're that rich, when you're that wealthy, that's a drug. And so you add all these things on top of John Jones. It's like, again, I wasn't surprised because I understand the psychology of people and I understand how they work. That's what I enjoy doing. And so when you study a John Jones kind of character, it's just like, it's sad and it's unfortunate that he had to experience these crazy, crazy things that happened in his life. But again, I'm not surprised because it's John Jones, and I know what he's. I understand what drives him. You know, he's a wild boy. You know, and so he has to have the right people around him. And it's again, when you're young, you coming up, you got your boys. You don't have a real team. You don't have managers and PR people. You got your boys. And so when you got your boys who aren't real like a professional team around you, they gonna let you do whatever you got to do because they're the yes men. They're your boys. They're your friends. They're not there under a professional reason. So that's just what happens. He gets him a solid team to run it to help him win his life. He'll be fine. But if he keeps hanging around the same people, well, same things are going to happen to John Jones.
I like how you said that you got to be a little different to want to be that great or a little
Yeah,
special.
you
So
have. Look, man, I don't have the drive and determination to be this world class fighter or a UFC champion. I just enjoy fighting. So for me, like, I don't have this. Look, you got guys who wake up, man, I got to go to the gym, I got to train, I got to be the best I can be. I don't wake up like that. I wake up and I'm like, man, what can I eat? What I got to do today? Oh, fine. I got to go to the gym. All right, fine. Again, that's now because let's say again, I've been here 14 years. I would say the first 8 years were very. I enjoy training. Not to say I don't enjoy training now, but I woke up and I was like, yo, let's go to the gym. Now I'm just like, all right, we got to fight. All right, let's go fight. You know. So everyone has their different sort of motivations. You know, you just got to find yours, and hopefully John gets his stuff together, gets the right team around him, and we see him back in the cage in 2018.
absolutely. Well, we'll get back onto your fight for a minute here. What you think of CM Punk? I've talked to a lot of fighters. I've talked to a lot of commentators, and they say that they dream about their opponents while they're training.
Uh-huh.
Is that something that you've found yet?
I do. I visualize the person standing across from me. For me, I don't know about other fighters, but I know for me, when I have a fight, I would say the majority of my time of day, I'm thinking about the person I'm fighting. I'm visualizing the fight. I'm visualizing what he could possibly do, and I'm visualizing how I win the fight. You know, so Phil Brooks is going to be on my mind for a long, long time.
Well, I wish you a lot of luck, Mike. A prediction on how the fight ends?
Second round knockout. That's what I like to. When I call second round knockouts, I'm 100%. They're all second round knockouts. Well, at least obviously it's been in boxing and in kickboxing. But for this one, I'm calling my shot. I'm calling the second round knockout. June 9th, UFC 225 in Chicago.
All right. Well, I hope you get that second round knockout. Go ahead and give a shout out real quick. You gave out your YouTube channel, Twitter, anywhere else you want people to be able to follow you at or look for you.
Yeah, man, you just follow me on all my social media, Twitter, Instagram. I don't really do the Snapchat anymore. I'm more on the Facebook now. Facebook or on Instagram. But all my social media is at The Truth Jackson. And then, of course, my website is MikeTheTruth.com. And then, of course, the Truth About Stuff podcast. Make sure you guys tune in and subscribe to that. And you can find that at MikeTheTruth.com/podcast.
All right, we will look for it. I'll look forward to checking those out. I'm going to watch your podcast, and I'm looking forward to your fight. I said, best of luck. Thanks for coming on the show, and hopefully you're coming back on with a victory speech after June 9th.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care, man.